Hi, good evening. I want to review a book. It is called Allure of the Vampire, Our Sexual Attraction to the Undead. And it is by Corvis Nocturnum. I wonder if that's his given name. Yeah, this is the book. It's a very attractive book with, of course, what is his name again? Don Henry from Mad. What was that? Was it Madhouse? Yeah. For those that don't know, there was this reality show, and it annoys me that perhaps the only reality show I would have interest in watching, of course, didn't go near Norwegian televisions. Basically, it was this reality show where people from alternative lifestyles got together and was supposed to live together in a house, basically. So you had some people who were witches, you had Don Henry, who lives a vampire lifestyle, and you had an urban primitive, you had a lot of different people. So yes, and this guy Don Henry has of course then become very famous, and yeah, there are some mixed feelings about whether or not he is a clown that runs around and embarrasses everybody in the vampire lifestyle, or if he has a lot of interesting things to say. I fall a little bit in between. He's definitely flashy, and I don't think that his being that flashy is negative in and of itself, but I think that his behavior could make those who are in the vampire lifestyle and tries to be taken seriously look bad, because while I can take someone that flashy seriously, a lot of people can't. But anyway, this isn't about Don Henry. He's just barely mentioned in the book, but they have gotten his picture on the cover, which I like because I think he's a very pretty man and I like to look at him. So yes, let's do that one more time, shall we? Here we have the man. Let's not covering up with my fingers. Yes, very nice, very nice. So yeah, what's this book about? Basically, it is about the vampire in books and especially movies, and it goes into depth about what makes us so fascinated by this creature. I mean, there are some, you can say, some logical fallacy here, that the figure of the vampire is this popular, but because basically it's corpse come back to life to suck the blood of the living. And it goes into the psychology of why this archetype is so attractive, even if you look at it logically, it shouldn't be. So yes, it also have a few chapters on um, the vampire community, and all from psychic vampires to those that live the lifestyle, and basically the living vampire uh, community of today. But that's just a tiny part. Basically, this is a book for movie buffs and horror book fans. And I think the book is very good. It has a lot of interesting material. Its biggest weakness, however, is that it's not a very big book. So you can see, let me see how many pages this is. It is, here's some advertisement. Yes. A lot of advertisement, actually. It seems to be 265 pages, it seems. Is that right? 267 pages, plus some advertisements. But at least those advertisements are interesting. It is for books by the same author, and some got shops of various sorts. So yeah. But anyway, 267 pages, and it has so many chapters. So it sort of have the weakness of a dictionary or encyclopedia, in that you cover a lot of ground, but it doesn't go into a lot of detail. But yeah, let's have a look at what this book contains. Table of content. You have image credits, yeah, because this book has pictures in exactly the way that I like it. There aren't pictures on every page so that it takes up a lot of space, but pictures are used when they enhance the book, where they enhance the descriptions, so that pictures aren't used just to fill up pages because the authors didn't bother to write more. They are used when they can give something to the reader, and I like that. And the pictures in here is generally either they are pictures of authors or someone that are being talked about, or they are beautiful Gothic images, which I really think adds to the mood of the book. So yeah. Then you have acknowledgements, foreword, and introduction. Basically the standard array there. And then you have vampires and folklore and early fiction. Then you have early superstitions, other cultures, dark romantics. Basically these sections are about the folklore of vampires and creatures which are similar. Then you have Lord Byron, Polidori, Carmilla, Bram Stoker, Victorian times, alternative sexuality references, Laurel K. Hamilton, Twilight, romance novels, and vampire erotica. So that's all in chapter 1. Then you have chapter 2, The Vampire on the Silver Screen, which includes The Nude Vampire, Hammer Films, Vampiria, Elvira Sex Siren, Red Vamp, Lilith in Film, Barnabas Collins, The Hunger, Buffy, Once Bitten, Lost Boys, Forever Night, The Vampire Chronicles, Vampire in Brooklyn, which, if you haven't seen it, I really recommend it, because it is one of the best horror comedies I've seen, because they've managed to mix making it a serious story with making it a comedy in a perfect manner. But yes, where were we? Vampire in Brooklyn, yes. Embrace of the Vampire, From Dusk Till Dawn, Kindred the Embraced, which are my favorite vampire TV series, which is based on the role-playing game Vampire the Masquerade, and unfortunately it only lasted 8 episodes. John Carpenter's Vampires, Blood Rain, where the games are so much better than the movies because it got uber bold. Van Helsing, Underworld, Vampire Sexuality Becomes a Word, The Insatiable, Blood Ties, True Blood, Pornography and the Vampire, Dracula Sucks, and Less Vampires. So yes, and then we have, that was chapter 2, then you have chapter 3. The Vampire in Art, Performance Art, Anders manga, cool name. Theaters, There's Vampires, Blood and Sky. I'd actually not noticed that man's name is Manga. Yeah. Vampires Walk Among Us, the Sci-Fi Channel. The Vampire in Art, Vampirella. Art of Tony Moero, Madame Web Photography, Vampire Wear, and Vampire Wine. Then that's chapter 3, and chapter 4 is Vampire Sexualis. Psychology of the Vampire. Young's versions of version of the archetype, crimes and deviant behavior, real night stalkers in history, Baron, Trills, the Race, Bella Kiss, Peter, Curtin, Psychophatia Sexalis. I wonder if that's... was that a person? Was it... actually, oh yeah. I remember that chapter didn't interest me that much. I've actually forgotten what that subchapter was about. But yeah, basically sexually deviant behavior and connected to vampirism. Modern criminal cases. Vampire cults, blood feral, clinical vampirism. And then you have medical cases, Renfield syndrome, vampires and fetish, and blood fetishes. Then we have the next chapter, which is Vampires of Our Day, which is the chapter about real life vampirism. You have the good, the bad, and the energy vamps, vampires, blood and sex magic, tantric sex and the vampire, and vampire ethics. You have afterwards about the author and appendixes. Now, why did I read the entire index of this book to you? Because it illustrates a problem I have with it. That is, this book is messy. Basically, it tries to be everything, and generally when things tries to be everything, it doesn't do it very well. At least if they were gonna have this many topics, they would have to have a lot more room in the book. Basically, this covers everything from sexual behaviors in concern with vampirism to a whole list of popular vampire movies, to the early fictions of vampires, to folklore, to living vampires, to Jung's archetype of the vampire. It contains so much, and then it doesn't go into detail, which then at the same time you get too much information at once, and at the other time you get too little. Like, it's not long since I've read this, and I had already forgotten what one of those subchapters were about until I checked it out. So yeah, what I think this book is good at is as basically encyclopedia. If you want to have some trivia about a vampire movie, then this is the book for you. If you want to give someone that you know love horror movies or horror literature a gift, then this is the book for you. If you want something that is an easy read, where you just read a section here and a section there to take with you on an airplane or something like that, then this is the book for you. However, if you want to go into depth about these subjects, then you've just tried to cram too much stuff into a too small book. So yeah, let's have a look at a typical section. Yes, let's have Twilight, why not? Which has actually a lot of pages. But yeah, that has 1.5, 2, 3, 4 pages. And yeah, let me find another section about Vampirella, which has 1.5 page. Art of Thorny Muero has a third of a page. Psychology of the Vampire has 1 and 1 page and 1 paragraph, basically, and the font is pretty big, so that basically if all you want is a bit of trivia, this is great. If you want to go into depth about the subject, then it's just too superficial. Now, do I think the book is bad? No, I don't. I think it's a great trivia book. When I was a little girl and was completely obsessed by vampires, I'm completely obsessed by vampires still, but when I didn't have as much information and as much books about it, then I would have gone crazy over this book. But I think that if you read up much about any topic when it comes to vampires, then there's gonna be very little in here that you don't know already. But yeah, it's reasonably well written. The art in it is beautiful. Let me see if I can find an example of that. Let me have a look-see here. So yeah, I think that here we have one example. I think the book would have been a lot better if it had just decided, okay, we're gonna discuss vampires in movies. We're gonna discuss vampire as an archetype. We're gonna discuss the modern vampire movement. If it had sticked to one topic, I think this would have been a much better book, because then you could have gotten some depth in there. As it is just a mess. Another picture. I think this is an album cover. I'm not completely sure. It's pretty anyway. This is my favorite picture in the book. Let me get it into view. Here we have it, yes. So yeah, the art is great. The writing is good. The articles are okay for form of encyclopedia, but not as something that you're actually going to learn something from. So I would give this book 5 out of 10. It's definite, if you're interested in vampires, it's definitely an okay book, but it's not great. It's too small a book and too much crammed in here. So I should probably give it a 6 out of 10 for Don Henry on the front cover. Here we have him again. Yes. Not like me to fawn over celebrities, but he is gorgeous. Anyway, that's my review of Allure of the Vampire, our sexual attraction to the undead, which should rather be called Every Shit We Can Think About Vampires, by Corvis Nocturnum. Have a great evening, and blessed be.